Greetings, I am Liz and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal and I use them.
And
let's play a game together.
I've realized that sometimes when I intro us, I say I'm, and sometimes I say I am, and I haven't figured out which one's better.
I think it just depends on the kind of mood you're going for. Because sometimes you're like, I will be very official. Let me not,
no contractions
no
for
contraction for me today.
Other times I'm like,
Thou shalt not be deterred. Yeah,
or contracted.
Or contracted.
Alright, welcome aboard, everyone. As I stare, my skin becomes increasingly translucent. I can see fluids pump through veins with each heartbeat. Horror. Fascination. I'm frozen, unable to pull my eyes away. Parts of my skin bulge and tear open, spilling ooze that drifts away into the unseen currents. The eel on my arm shudders, wiggles from the confines of my skin and swims away. My mouth hangs open, but a maddening itch creeps across my body, and I let out a giggle. Mostly just like, why from? I'm sad about it.
I mean, you could just click.
I forgot, you can click. Pardon me. Yes!
Ah!
It itches everywhere. So itchy I can't stop giggling and shaking. My vision swims. Lines and shapes meld. A sting on my wrist. Illar's pain. It sets my heart racing. Wrist. I can still feel it. I can still move. There comes a distant voice. I try to turn toward it. Streaks of color spin around me. No room. No depth. No dimension. Even when I shut my eyes, the after image flashes behind closed lids. I was a ghost wandering through an ethereal painscape. I imagine hearing Illar's voice. Closer. Did I shout a reply, asking them to guide me? The itch between my ears is so loud. Did they hear me? Are they replying? Is that the eagle swimming alongside me? I follow what I think is Illar's voice. My feet are so numb that only rhythmic thuds tell me I'm stepping forward. My eyelids are heavy as boulders crushing together. I count my steps, one after another. No time, no distance, just the stepping. I don't know how long I go on like this. Something firm and warm touches my shoulders. I don't know how much time passes until I struggle my eyes open. Blobs of shimmering color swirl and congeal into an impressionist gesture of a room.
Still an excellent fucking line. Like, so visceral and so simple.
Also, I'm like, the whole... Yeah, blobs of shimmering color swirl together. I get the impression not only of the room barely coming together, but like you'd fallen apart so much that your eyes are coming back together kind of thing. And it's a great piece of imagery. The whole thing is, honestly, I really love how Venn describes the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Of going, my body's not there, but it still functions as though it's there. And there's this sort of like distant thud, like when you're walking on feet that are asleep. You can't feel yourself walking, but you can still feel it like reverberate through your leg.
Right.
Like it's good imagery.
Yeah.
Hot, bright needles withdraw from my skull. Ecstatic coolness. I sigh, wincing at the agonizing relief. Then, finally, drop the clutched tensions and slump to the floor. Tears fall, but I don't care. Illar's grip eases me down.
Welcome back!
They say as if I'd gone for a holiday. I can only wheeze. This? I swallow. This is a nightmare. Don't make me go back there. I press my cheek to the smooth stone floor. Down on the ground. Plonk.
Oh no. Oh, bathroom floor. Basically, you are my only friend.
Yes.
If you've ever been there where like it's really hot or like you've been really dizzy or I mean if you've ever been hungover,
Or
sometimes
something.
you're just like, oh my god.
You're like, the only cool
Please.
place in the entire house is the bathroom floor. And I'm gonna lay on my face on it and it will be divine.
It will be delicious.
It will be beautiful. Cold is balance. Balance is good.
Good.
You said it would be easy. I almost... Death couldn't be worse than this. A palm touches my head. I twitch. It goes away. It comes back. Small motions. Stroking. These are the comfort gestures.
Right.
Are they not?
You lingered, didn't you?
You're the one that picked the desk that's so far away to solve this problem. The shaking starts somewhere inside me. It grows into a heaving and then soundless laughter. It all seems so ridiculous. Me, looking for a recipe to close a portal, helping this stranger who drags me about, hurting me, telling me it will be easy, and I can't linger? Straightforward. Ha! Don't overthink it, they say. My belly is sore from the convulsions, but it won't stop. My world is a blur. Maybe it's better like that. Sink it all. Sink it all to the bottom. Ilar's awkward patting resumes.
You don't have to tell me. I know what it feels like.
You've totally been here before. Also, I love this specifically. It's awkward patting. They don't know what they're doing.
Also going, maybe we've never had basically this kind of relationship before. You've been very resistant, at least whoever you were before, was really uninterested in a lot of physical contact.
Or it could be that you've just snapped at them enough times about touching you that they're like, I'm being careful.
Coin, please don't bite
I
me.
wish to support you.
I comfort.
Gentle.
Barely.
Barely.
Barely touching the feral kitten.
Yes, that one.
That one.
That one. Another wave of vertigo smears across my head.
I know that feeling. And you'll get used to it, like I did. Think of it as a lesson, if it helps. Also, I did want to point out that actually in the previous 2 screens, with the whole characters talking vaguely back and forth, that is kind of what I mean. Like, I get where your character might be confused, but there is that happens a lot more often as we go on, and it gets really befuddling as who the hell is talking, but clearly people know who's talking. So it's weird to go, the character who you're supposed to be in the head of, you know, or at least mostly in the head of, that you can't distinguish between who's talking. Yeah.
So, I was just saying, for me, I just have to read them really, really closely for context clues and or a follow-up sentence.
Yes.
And that's why I'm pausing a little bit here and there to go, wait, who's talking? It doesn't. At least the room's spinning is slowing. It's so good when suddenly the blender goes a little slower. Ilar sighs.
Dreadful, isn't it?
I can almost hear their smile.
To find yourself in such a strange place. No remembering, not knowing, peril around every corner. I hear death is not unlike that. You go to seas, but not as yourself. You go as a new thing, empty to the past, like it never was.
So like me now, I guess. They look down with a stiff grin.
Maybe it's not much worse than this.
The whole side eye thing of going, So, I had a thought between episodes, and it's just a thought. I have no proof of any of this. But since, we don't do the whole game all at once in one sitting.
Oh, yeah.
You have a couple of days to think about it, between recording sometimes.
Because we would be here for hours.
It's true.
If you guys have seen, even just our Doki Doki Literature Club, run through where they're like, yeah, this takes 5 to 6 hours. We took over 24 hours to do that game.
Oh, we took almost exactly 24, actually.
Yeah. But the thing is that's not including sort of sometimes where we had either mistakes or setup we had to redo or whatever,
So it occurred to me that, and okay, so tags are really important in a game. Content warnings are really important in a game, but my brain was going, it's warns for various things, including suicide attempt, and I'm like, what if, Ilar came into the room and you, Ven, had attempted, and that is what this whole scenario is, and they're here intervening because it's a magical attempt,
right,
and trying to save you. And I have no idea if that's what's going on, but that was where my brain went. I was like, that would explain, 1, a lot of their stress in the matter.
Right.
And 2, that would be a lot of story to unravel, and it was suddenly just very interesting.
I actually remember when my friend, was talking about this, and she was really just like, wait a second, and I was like, oh.
And what if the reason
that would make sense also
all your memories is because you did die, but you didn't die.
And we've also observed that actually we literally don't interact with the world in the same way that Illar does at all.
Nope.
Stuff floats through us,
bubbles off of us and stuff like that.
It's weird. We do not have the same experience compared to what, like, visually has at least been described with Illar at all.
So I think...
And I'm kind of wondering, actually, if we're sort of just like a spirit or something that's kind of wandering, that Illar is desperately trying to keep stuck in one place.
And going, please get back in the body.
Because, as we have pointed out, the whole, here's your heart vessel, I disappear, like, we're back in this other place, our character still has observed that our body is still there.
Mm-hmm. And Ilar isn't like Ilar will full on disappear and go back to their other body, but we haven't done that, and Ilar seems very, very concerned that we don't do that.
Yeah.
That don't completely dissolve this thing that you're basically contained in. Anyway, so that's my theory right now.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what we're running with.
Maybe it's not much worse than this. There we go.
Almost sounds nice in a way. I should say something, or you don't get to say that.
I really think it's one of those sort of enormity of the situations. Like I should say something.
Like I should say something, but
I don't have anything.
Yeah, especially at this point, you're really tired. You just had a hard time.
You barely have your vision back. You haven't even seen Illar. It's like that's a hand that belongs to them.
It goes time to disassociate further. It's okay. Like, so, it would be reasonable.
And just looking at the situation and going, this is associate. You know, you're sort of in that fishbowl bubble and going, this is a situation wherein I should be saying something.
Right. I should do something.
The loneliness in their words brings a chill to me. Illar had been the one with the reins until now, guiding, encouraging, sometimes goading me forward. What would I do if they really gave up? Oh, that is, they said. Okay, yeah. The thought knocks the fire in my chest out cold. I should do something. I should say something. Illar, they chuckle, running a hand through their hair.
How embarrassing. I should be the one cheering you up. Said I'm adding fuel to the fire. Or is it pouring water on your fire? Come on, baby, pour the water.
Come on, baby, douse my fire.
Yes. Something poetic about fire and water. You get the gist.
They chuckle. I love it when someone can do that, when someone's, a close enough friend or whatever, where they're just like, this kind of a joke thing. Like, I can't pull the pun or whatever together in my head, but it's there, and you're going, yes, I get it, I appreciate it.
Honestly, that has actually been one of the things that I love about watching people who are really close friends. You can really tell that they're used to each other's language, basically, and they have a pattern of speaking that the other person can usually pick up on pretty rapidly and pretty intimately. Even if the other person hasn't finished a sentence, so they're like slowly moving and sort of meandering their way towards the topic, the other person goes, oh, I know what you're getting at. Hang on, let me simplify that, make that better, like my friend does for me sometimes, or I sometimes do for them. Like,
when both of us is going, there's this thing that I'm trying to describe, but also the experience of going, there's a joke here in all of these pieces. I don't know what it is, but I think you get it anyway.
Right?
And they go, yes, I do.
It's funny.
All right, they chuckle. I let out a sigh of relief. I might even smile if things weren't so horrible. But I managed to grumble. Very poetic. I would applaud, but my arms still feel like noodles. Noodle arms, everybody.
Sad chicken hands.
Spaghetti legs.
Blah, blah, blah,
Betty spaghetti. Illar laughs and helps me to my feet. I've never seen them laugh. They look like someone else with the same face. That's just an interesting observation. But it supports the thing that I've been talking about with Illar. Illar is performing in some way to try and keep things together.
Yes.
And going, I just broke through and was like, this is actually me with real I need to, I didn't control myself.
Yeah. I also find that to be really sad, because then it goes,
Catching me looking, they clear their throat and look away.
So, what did you find in the journal? But yeah, I'm like, that is sad. So you'll have to forgive us. Okay, so full disclosure, we lost an episode.
Yeah, so this is stuff we've played before. That we lost this episode.
And also we have already played this in our Twitch stream, so there is things that we've noticed, and we're just sort of bringing out those observations. So we'll try not to ruin too much of the other stuff by not talking about what's coming up all the time. But sometimes it's so hard to just keep tampered down, because you're like, that's so good.
I say a lot of it is really, really good, and Illar's experience looks really, really complex, and the writers are fully aware of what they're doing and doing it intentionally, which again comes generally with writing a character experience rather than an episodic experience, if you will, or specifically just story beats, For a journal, as I open my mouth to answer, my blurry eyes bring into focus the abyss Devara, a few meters away, sneering with menace. I flinch, taking a step aside to put Ilar between it and me. Ilar's eyes flit sideways, then back to me. They sigh and smile sadly.
I've gotten used to innumerable things in my time, but this one's not so easy.
Are you just talking about the abyss? You don't say. Illar rubs the back of their neck, then peers up with mischief in their eyes.
Oh, what if we gave it a nickname? It's hard to be grave about a thing if it has a silly name.
What do you propose?
Mashed potato.
Honestly, I love this idea,
It's
though.
so good.
Like, sometimes you get this experience where, you know, the problems in your life seem huge and insurmountable. And giving them a funny name or relabeling them or recontextualizing them in some way gives you power over them.
It does, actually. And that's why some people will also take back basically what's considered a harmful language, going, sure, I'll use that label to describe myself, and therefore you take away that power then that somebody else has to hurt you. Now, that doesn't mean that it always works, because I've also seen some people where they'll go, I took this name back, but because it still is also used in tandem with things that still really hurt, and because I'm still attached in some ways to the original meaning or the meaning I was raised with, it can be hard to hear that word or use that word basically on yourself.
Well, and what I was going to say is it doesn't give you full power over the thing.
Yeah.
But it gives you some.
And
so
that's...
it can help make us a completely intolerable situation a little bit manageable.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I like that. It's a neat thing. I love it. Makes no sense. I have a better idea. So I've actually been thinking about this one, and I have a much better idea. I have a better idea.
You remember you can use the arrow keys if you
I forgot about that one. Right.
Do you now?
They pout theatrically.
Let's hear it then.
So for me, I want to, so we're supposed to get rid of this thing, right? Like, we're supposed to fold it up and destroy it.
Yep.
I just want to call it, depression.
Yeah, we can
and
do
then
that.
we can overcome
Our depression.
Like, I just think that's so great. I'm like, anybody in this game playing it ever, hopefully the game ends with you closing the damn portal or defeating or overcoming it in some way.
Right.
Because otherwise,
your depression conquers
you. But, if that's the way the game goes, then you can name this after any challenge that you have. And then when you beat it, you can sort of defeat it in effigy.
Yeah, sure. Let's
We're going to do it. We're going to beat
defeat
depression. We are going to call it a very, very soft, very nice, lighthearted name, depression.
You'll be real careful. Do not hit that button.
Yeah, no, I can't, arrows.
That's because there's nothing to click on.
Oh, shoot. I thought you had to choose again.
No.
How about depression? Illar blinks. I put my fists on my hips and give them a flat stare. This is a serious thing.
Challenge me.
We need to give it a funny name. Depression's a real funny name, isn't it?
Is it hilarious?
Hilarious. They sigh.
Very well. Depression it is.
Good name for a pet cat too, yeah? Because, then you can soothe your depression and it will purr.
No.
Damn.
I'm only letting you have one.
Only one.
Only one.
I grin with satisfaction. They grin back.
Moving on to matters more succinct, then have you found the spell we need to slay depression?
Yes! Okay, that sounds so good.
Yes.
That sounds so good. There was this bizarre entry in the journal. I wasn't sure what I was reading, but I couldn't stop. I had to know. It was about a ritual called Expulsera. Raising an eyebrow, Illar asks,
I'm impressed. It was a record of sorts?
You're impressed that I can read? That's right. I think I took part in the ritual. Illar smirks.
You weren't as always straight-laced as you'd like to think.
Oh, yes, those late-night college
Really?
dorm rituals.
Honestly, that's kind of what it sounds like to me going, we engaged in the ritual in the dorm rooms with the fraternity.
When we were being,
we summoned a demon. Shit!
Exactly, when we were being, brazen and irresponsible with our new magic powers when we were quite young. Now I have adult money. It's like, now I have adult magic and I can do whatever I want with it.
Right.
Kind of thing. Anyway. So it's true. That explains it somewhat. I sense a tension in my head. A puzzle coalesces. But it raises another question.
It always does with you. Go ahead.
Always with me now or always with me before? I wrote down things like excruciating pain, being taken out of this realm, meeting some Divarna, and then vomiting out something that was pulsing. The hairs on my neck stand up as I say it. Stroking their chin, Illar says,
Well, that's not a question.
Hi.
I'm going to observe like an asshole, but I need you to know that's not a question.
A little bit of them-splaining. That is not a question.
That is not a question.
I mean, I must have seen some extraordinary things. Beautiful things. Scary things. Disgusting things. Things I can't even guess at now. Are those memories all just lost now?
If you're saddened by that, there's no need, my dear man.
Oh, why not?
It happens to every human being one day. All that they've known and cherished, loved and feared, craved and loathed, all will be lost. No exceptions. You simply arrived there before you died. A crack in the flow. That's all.
This also supports my theory of going, you died.
You
Like,
did
only
actually die.
mostly died, and then they just, this is an magical intervention.
Yeah, it's like, this is magical intervention.
That is my guess.
I thought that was a great, thing for my friend to go, hang on.
And I'm also my friend has just been, a couple of times just being like, I bet you're dead. And I'm like, what if you're not dead? What if it's this? And it's just, we've been building on this theory together. And I'm also just like, I really love this philosophically of going, so everybody in sci-fi is all obsessed with non-linear time, right?
Right.
So basically, if your life is usually seen as linear time, and it ends with you losing your memories and becoming basically an empty vessel of yourself, your primary basically functional values and personality intact, but none of your memories, none of your trained beliefs and or culturalization, right?
Right.
Cultural socialization. That's what I meant. Then just saying, hey, this time it just happened out of order, no big deal.
Right.
It's kind of an interesting way to approach it. That is all? Does that not make you afraid?
I don't see why it should.
Because it could mean that everything you've ever done doesn't really matter.
Because in the end,
it doesn't even matter.
They don't. Not to the great depth. Just so much debris to feed the Lucasi.
Yeah. And, depression, newly named, leads to the great depth, right?
Right.
So is that where our memories are? How can you say that? Are you even human?
Oh.
Taken aback, Ilar fixes me with a narrow gaze. I swallow, wondering if those were the best choice of words. But they recover with a shake of the head.
The old Vin and I might have had engaging exchanges on such a profound topic, but you at present?
What about me at present? My cheeks swell and I cross my arms. Puffed cheeks.
I pull a pufferfish face,
Yes.
which is very animo of me.
Very animo. Waiting for them to finish so I can give them a sound tongue lashing. They shrug as if I'd asked them about the weather.
You're not you anymore.
Sadness hits me. Hard. Like a bucket of ice water dumped on a stove. I turn aside to rub my eyes and I don't notice Ilar walk to me until a hand is laid lightly on my shoulder. Also, I wanted to, so we've discussed amnesia and, memory loss in real life versus in fiction a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I know we've mentioned it in here, but I feel like in this case, I want to mention the whole sadness hits me hard, because in, my experience, you don't have people...
My apologies, I do not know what that was, guys. Something...
Something was loading and I'm not sure what it was.
Wait.
Huh.
Hold on. Hang for a hot second. Okay, sorry, I guess everything is still running. That was really weird. So, you start from the beginning again?
Random little update. Anyway, so the character explaining here, sadness hits me hard. We've contrasted that before to that kind of behavior of going. A lot of people in real life and in studies that have lost their memory, they don't miss their old selves. They don't feel sad about their old selves.
Nope.
But if you're having a real empathetic experience with Ilar, and they are distressed a bit about your experience, or they keep referring to the old you in your memories, which is how this started, then you can go, I am sad and frustrated because I I want to connect more with the only person in my reality right now.
Right.
And I don't have that. So it's not so much a longing for your memories, so much as going, I have no connection to this place, and the memories are the only thing that suggests that I could. And given the enormity of the situation, I want to, and it's frustrating not to.
Yeah.
There's
good reasons I don't indulge in all your questions.
Their tone is not patronizing for once. Apparently it's been patronizing this whole time.
Which I would love to know as a character bit, to, like, you're in their head going, motherfucker.
I've never said it the whole time. On the other hand, it also could be a level of going, right now, I acknowledge that they're being more sensitive. In that sort of, like, bitchy way that one can do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, too, is sometimes you go, well, now they're not being patronizing, and some people go, you're literally only saying that now because you've been mad at them in the past 5 seconds, so you're going, well, you've just been patronizing me this whole time then. They're like, I haven't been patronizing this whole time. Actually.
Not wanting to meet their eyes, I stare ahead and ask, what might those be? Ilar is silent again, considering their answer, maybe? The fire may be out, but cinders still smolder in my heart, and I can't resist a late retort. This person is so grumpy. And what if the way out of this mess is buried in my lost memories? Did you think of that?
Perhaps, but to go down that route would be to stake our salvation on reverting you to your old self.
They take their hand away. What is it with you and comparing me to the old me? Am I truly that much worse now? Is that what you are driving at?
No.
A hand raised to the forehead in frustration. Ilar speaks in a tone so low I struggle to hear it.
You keep looking behind you, wondering what was lost. Would you miss what lies ahead? And by doing so, you doom us both.
Also, if Ilar... there's a level of, insistence and urgency that could be completely related to, hey, this spell's trying to sort of eat the world and we'd like it to not do that. Mm-hmm. But it also could be a level of going, if you remember what you were doing here, then there's no way I can save you.
Yeah.
If my theory is sound.
It's also really interesting going, but you miss but what lies ahead, and by doing so, you doom us both. Which might mean, actually, your character is actually doomed. Vin is going to die at the end of this whole thing, and so you might be able to stop the Abyss Devara together if Vin can stay focused and Illar can help him stay focused, but otherwise...
you might not even be able to save yourself at all. And going... And
that might be terrifying for, Illar to go, I can't bring this up because most people don't want to go, hi, I will kill myself now for people I don't remember, know about, or understand at all.
For a life that I'm leaving, yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Bye. Their voice drips with dismay. I can only swallow. I feel like we should comment on their expression again. If, smiling was such a sudden, just surprising change, dripping with dismay is far more emotive than they've been really as well.
Yeah.
So, that one.
But we're not also looking at them either.
No, I just mean, we should comment on the sound of the emotiveness kind of thing.
Sure.
Of going, that is also a big vulnerable, if you will. Mm-hmm. Let's see. But then they chuckle.
If you want to regain something, then let it be the old Vin's prudence. Do what is necessary. Find the spell. Free us both. Can you do that?
I let out a long sigh. All right. I can do that. Sorry if I got distracted, I add. Ilar clears their throat.
You, didn't encounter any mentions of the ritual we need?
No. I had no time. I stroked the spot on my wrist.
There's probably a few dozen spells in that book.
My friend trying to figure out who's talking.
Yeah, no, who is that? Is that Illar? That might not be Illar. Again, I appreciate what the authors are trying to do tonally, but, this is baffling to me.
Trying to figure out who's speaking is really difficult.
It really, to me, it slows me down, even just as a reader. If I was reading this would drive me crazy. And trying to act it out loud is even worse.
Difficult. There's probably a few dozen spells in that book. Ilar begins to pace back and forth, brows locked together, muttering. I don't know which one of them says that. It could be either of them.
It could be, honestly.
It really could.
Those are not uncommon ritualistic components. No, we won't get through that way. Need more time. We can't afford it to make mistakes, Vin. You'll have to do better than this. Did you find nothing else?
I don't know whether to be embarrassed, frustrated, or indignant. Embarrassed, frustrated, and indignant show up as a choice.
All of them. You cannot pick all of them.
Yeah, you have to pick one, just one. I try to read more, but my body started falling apart. I almost didn't make it, remember? I feel the cut on my wrist, remembering. Wait, there was something else. There was a letter. In massive expression change. Still love how many expressions they have. So good. It was signed by an I. Was it from you?
What was it about?
Yeah, I don't know. It sounded like you were rather forcefully inviting me to lunch.
Probably to save you from starvation.
I roll my eyes. Was I that inept? You honestly, based on your handwriting and your organization and your giant-ass room of spells, you sound like a workaholic.
But the other thing is a lot of people can go, God, can't you organize yourself? And it's like, no, the thing is that you can be completely organized and basically go, I don't need to eat.
Oh.
And that's called being a workaholic. But a lot of people don't consider that because they go, well, the obvious thing is you should eat until you're the workaholic. And then you go, I don't need to eat. I can wait longer. I can, if I roll this work over into this thing, I don't have to work. I don't have to worry about that part anymore. I can just keep working.
And I'm still feeling awake and functioning, so I can just make this wait.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that sort of thing. If food will take time away from this and ruin the flow, let me just keep going. Yeah.
Yes. Not inept, dangerously absorbed. And you know what? We are dangerously out of time.
Well, because we are all hyper-focusing here.
We also gonna go get lunch.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It does greatly help our channel out, and we could use all the help we could get. Please also feel free to go check out the Ko-Fi and the Patreon. There are some links in the description down below for some goals that we'd like to accomplish with the channel itself.
Yep.
And also please remember to support the creators. I will try to remind people about doing so every once in a while when we are playing this. I won't always remember, but at least we got to try have some of it, right? But yeah, other than that, I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you.
Bye!